toward the end of the show, but I want to hit with Fred because he's now working on a capital improvement project himself through the county. And so this is it's kind of an interesting sort of juxtaposition of stories here now too, that the county has assessed their needs. And I'm sure Rob Kelly's kind of aware of some of these issues too, but you're on a project. The county is just stretched thin it's overstuffed basically in their facility needs. And you're looking at, from what Brenda said to me, Brenda Hughes, by the way, I was on this committee with you and Bobby Templeton and Pete Calderon, that it's just too small, inappropriately sized, right?
Well, it's we're busting at the seams. I mean, that's literally true. And Chris Hughes is also on the committee.
Chris Hughes, right.
And, Judge Kelly's charge to us 2 years ago, we've been doing this for 2 years,
right,
was to take a 30,000-foot look down and see what there was. And we visited every county facility. We talked to every department head, every elected official, and the other members of the committee who weren't quite as familiar with the county as I was were just astounded and aghast at what they found.
Right.
And so...
So you're saying you weren't necessarily surprised by some of what you were dealing with, but Brenda Hughes is constant, I can't believe this,
Well, I was county judge for 4 years, so I had some awareness
of
what was going
yeah.
on. But I mean, that was 20 years ago, so it's gotten a lot different, a lot worse now than it was then. So the committee was formed, one person from each precinct and a judge, and we set out to look around and see what there was and come up with some. We hope with some solutions that's going to require a bond issue.
So even as a county judge, though, I mean, you said 20 years ago. I mean, Kerr County was a lot different place now. We're looking at some unprecedented growth, especially in Precinct 2, which is where you reside, correct?
Right.
Were there things that surprised you though that had not been done or were in need of? So
well, like for instance, I was not aware of the critical situation of the animal control shelter because I'm not into pets in that way.
Yeah. And
to go visit it and then listen to Reagan Givens, the good local boy, my youngest son and he were buddies out at Hunt School, talk about the problems and see the facility and the needs. It's like the way the judge described it, this is inhumane.
Right.
And he's right.
Right.
So we have to fix that. Okay. So how do we fix that? Well, okay. And then you look at an issue that Brenda will probably talk your arm off about is storage.
Right.
Each department, each elected official has a different set of storage needs dictated by the state.
Right.
Some of them are immediate, some of them are long-term, and there's just no space. I mean, they're cramming stuff everywhere they can to try to meet the needs for storage so they can retrieve something, so people can find something. So that's an issue that these ladies probably have some awareness of because they have a facility and they have supplies.
Yeah.
But the county is just, I mean, it's beyond patching anymore. We
right.
can no longer belt and suspenders that issue. That's the one that jumped out at everybody.
The one that I love, though, is they're going to put the tax office in a church.
That's a perfect solution to that.
Well, it actually really is. I mean, it's a smart, practical reuse. It is kind of funny. It's ironic, but there's a drive-through opportunity that's there. And I had trouble sort of visualizing it at first. Like, you look at I don't necessarily go down that part of Earl Garrett. So I drove down there the other day, and I was like, this is actually a perfect location.
Well, you could almost literally pick up the tax office and place it in the old sanctuary.
Yeah, right.
And not do hardly anything to it. Now, we're going to do some things. We have to upgrade the restrooms. Like you say, we're going to put in a drive-through window with a kiosk that you put in the tube, and it goes over there. And it's really going to be nice because part of my portfolio is courthouse security.
Yeah.
Probably 40% of the people who visit the main courthouse are there for the tax office.
Right.
So you take the tax office out of that,
which is really convenient, by the way. That tax office is fantastic. You get in, you get out. It's one of the pleasures. It's
convenient unless you're there on December 29th or December 30th when the line goes out the tax office, down the hall, down the driveway, down the sidewalk to the street.
Right.
So,
yikes.
Moving the tax office is dictated by an unfunded mandate.
Right.
In 2019, the legislature, in its infinite wisdom, decided that county courts at law could have 12-person juries because the standard had always been 6. We have a very nice 8-person jury room. We don't have a 14-person jury room. So how do we satisfy the unfunded mandate? The only place to go is into the tax office.
Yeah.
Okay, if you go into the tax office, then what do you do with the tax office? Well, you move it over here. Oh, and now we have room to create a legitimate IT department. Right now, the IT department basically operates out of 2 closets.
Right, and we have photos of that, by the way. I'm going to show, and I also have photos of some of this, the crazy amount of entrances into this place. Like, there's actually like secret entrances into this facility.
Well,
let me just get this up for you so you can see this. So this is one here for people who are seeing this. We don't need to make Google Drive, but this is one of like about, what is it? I think Judge Kelly said 12 or 13 entrances into the court.
16. There are 16 distinct methods of ingress or egress in the courthouse.
Wow. So, and then this is some of the IT stuff. If it'll work. Okay, well, we'll come back. Let me fix this real quick. My computer's running kind of slow. So, this is one of the issues, though, that we saw in Ingram was that the telephone exchange was in the bathroom. That was crazy to me. How did that happen?
It's called belt and suspenders, adapt and move on.
Right.
Anybody who's in business now knows how critical IT is.
Oh yeah.
So when
Believe
you
me,
have an IT department that's jammed into 2 closets.
Right. Here's like the laptop graveyard.
Yeah.
And honestly, like you get to the point, and this is another good example of the storage needs here. Although there's a dead tree in there. I don't know what's going on with that. And a Christmas tree. So, but this, you really can't do much more with this, I guess. I mean, this is pretty much it.
It's beyond the patchy, the belt and suspenders.
Right. And then finally, here's another IT space. Again, this is not optimal. Believe me, you want to have your facilities. Here's the thing, right? If you have one of the retention things that people don't think about is, and this kind of goes for both of them, is like, you need to have a nice space to keep employees. This one is actually not even really great for COVID. I mean, so you could have people spreading COVID around. So
you couldn't get 6. I mean, you couldn't get 6 feet apart if you tried.
Right.
In those spaces.
Right. There are. So these issues are, and obviously IT infrastructure is huge. From that, because is the county? Well, I can tell you from the live streaming thing, the county has got a long ways to go to kind of catch up. Where do they need to go?
Everywhere.
Okay.
I mean, the connectivity is poor. I mean, one of the things that I'm looking at is security.
Right.
And we want to have a uniform security system throughout all of the county facilities. Well, that means you have to have a central monitoring capability somewhere. Well, how are you going to tie in the new West Kerr County Annex with the sheriff's office, the new animal control shelter with the sheriff's office and the courthouse? So that's a critical connectivity IT issue that we have to deal with. Right.
And when you meet with these folks, I mean, Bobby Templeton described it as like 2 years ago when you guys first got together as a group. Oh, we'll be done with this in a few weeks, and it's been 2 years.
That's right. It's taken that long to really come to grips with the issue, and we took advantage of some very favorable interest rates and land purchases to purchase land, so we now have the capability of satisfying the needs. So,
I always say this and I've said this to the city folks as well, because they're dealing with this issue, with the police facilities, is that no matter what, you're going to have maybe 9 or 10% of your population. I mean, on a no-brainer bond, kind of like this one, you're going to have a few people who are going to I'm not going to vote for that, But if there's people who are undecided about, this potential bond that's going to go on the ballot in 2022, what do you say to them?
I say you need to have service from your county employees.
Mm-hmm.
The state mandates that we provide certain services, tax office, county clerk for deeds and marriage licenses, and the district clerk for court records, and the sheriff's office and the animal control. We have to provide those facilities because it's mandated by the state. Well, do you want something that works? Particularly, let's take the animal control. where you have facilities for the animals, where they're treated humanely, where they can get out and exercise, or do you want something where they're just jammed in and suffering? Nobody's going to go for that.
Right.
Okay, so that requires a new facility, and that requires a bond issue because the county has taken the position that we're not going to fund these kind of capital improvements out of short-term debt.
Right.
We funded the land purchases out of short-term debt. I might say very favorable. The interest rate is 0.75
Right.
of 1%.
Yeah, less than the 1% was a pretty good deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have the facility, but the whole plan is we're going to pay off the short-term debt with the long-term debt of the bond issue.
Right.
So, but to anybody who doesn't realize the necessity, just point out what all has to be done. Do you really want to stand in line for an hour and a half to pay your taxes on December 30th?
No.
Or would you rather get in line and 15 minutes later drive through, drop it in a tube, and get your receipt and go home?
Yeah, absolutely. And I just think it's cool that it's going to be in a church. It's just kind of funny. I mean, it's just interesting.
They'll probably need the prayer after they see
right.
their tax bill.
Please, God, let me have enough money in my checking account to pay this bill.
The other thing we're doing is trying to improve the security of all the facilities, mainly the courthouse.
Which is lacking in the courthouse, right?
There is no way to control the traffic flow. And I've talked to experts. I've talked to Sheriff Hirschholzer. I've talked to Sheriff Latha, and they all agree that until we control the flow of people through that courthouse, your security is never going to follow the way it should be.
Right.
Like you just mentioned, there are 16 distinct ingress and egress access points in that courthouse.
That you know about. There could be some secret. I mean, there's one that Brenda showed me a picture of that looks like it's like a secret passage.
That's right. It's under the old courthouse, down a set of steps.
It's like hidden by a tree. You know, you have to pull back. I mean, it's like a treasure map almost. It's crazy.
Internally in the courthouse, we have several staircases that are internal, that are not monitored at all, and then we have the whole problem of the rabbits warren under the old courthouse. The secret
areas under the courthouse.
I walked that the other day, and it would not have surprised me to see some homeless people living down there.
Oh, really? Wow.
Because it's so inaccessible, but it's wide open.
Interesting.
And so that's something we have to have. I mean, we need to remember that the courthouse was built in 1926.
And did they build that courthouse on top of the old courthouse foundation? Or
no, they didn't. It was a separate location. Then in because originally the jail was on top of the courthouse, and the cells are still up there.
Okay.
Then in 1975, they added on to the courthouse and put the jail on the second floor of the annex.
Okay.
Well, in the 90s, the Texas Jail Commission came in and said, this is no longer functional. You can't patch it anymore. We're going to shut you down. So they built a new one. Well, when they built a new one, then you've got all this space that's not being in use. So one of the things I was handed as county judge was to renovate the old jail into district courtrooms and office space, which we did very successfully. That was in 2000. That's the last time there's been significant improvements made to the courthouse. 22 years ago.
I know that these, all these counties in Texas have these historic courthouses, and it's really kind of cool if you drive through all these places and see them. But, a building built in 1926, and we talked about this a little bit. This is another part of this is that when Judge Kelly kind of commissioned this group, and he was initially said, well, maybe 10 years. And he said, I think it was Pete Calderon that said, no, 30 years. We could go 30 years. I mean, I have argued with Bruce Strachey ad nauseum that I would be surprised if you see 15 to 20% growth between now and 2030. Is that facility long-term viable, or do you need to have another facility altogether? Is that something you would think about?
The plan is for that to be viable because of the improvements we're making, like moving the tax office off, like Bobby Templeton was telling you about a legitimate West Kerr County annex, which actually takes quite a load off the courthouse.
Yeah.
Even a lot of the car dealers in Kerrville would rather go to West Kerr County to do the title work than stand in line at the courthouse.
Exactly.
And all the people from West Kerr County would rather go in there to pay their taxes. Plus, the law dictates that the justice of the peace from any precinct must have the office in that precinct.
Right.
So we have to have an office for Judge Ragsdale and the constable in Precinct 4.
And, you know, in Judge Ragsdale's chambers look like they were basically picked up at a truck stop, you know.
If it was a nice truck stop.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's not a Buc-ee's or anything like that. I mean, we're not talking about high class here. We're talking about something that's been, you know, run over a few times.
I've been in that courthouse, that courtroom many times.
Yes.
Out there too,
There's like a weird, it's one of those things where the picture of it is like, it's like that dress a few years ago that was really popular on the internet where you would have, is it blue or is it brown, right? The wall color in that courthouse, is it teal or is it green or is it black? What is the color of that place? I mean, it's just weird. I have to say though, I find, you know, and again, this is the Californian in me, but I find the courthouse to be incredibly convenient. You know, it's just so nice to be able to go in there. Here's my registration. Here's how just pay for something, get it done, and even the long lines are not like soul crushing. So, but it is interesting. And Brenda will text me like, there needs to be storage. There needs to be this. There needs to be that. There needs to be this, and it's kind of interesting to see what you guys are dealing with here.
One of the challenges from a security point of view is that there are really 3 court functions, county functions that have to be easily available to the public: the tax office,
Yeah,
the clerk's office, county clerk's office, and the district clerk's office. You need to be able to go in and do your business and get out,
right.
instead of having to make an appointment or get buzzed in. So that's kind of a unique security challenge. So the solution again is to manage the traffic flow. So we have 2 or 3 points of ingress and egress for the general public, and they can't hit the stairway and go down into the rabbit's warren, or they can't hit the stairway and go up.
Right.
So we know where they're going to be, and that way, talking to law enforcement, they can better monitor who's doing what. We've never had a serious problem in the county facilities from a security point of view that I'm aware of. I know, talking to the people out at Animal Control, people love their animals, and sometimes they get a little exercise because the county employees can't do what they think should be done.
Right.
And they've had to call security more than once.
Right.
We had an incident about a month ago where, for some god-awful reason, who knows, a man drove his pickup up over the curb, over the sidewalk, and parked and went in the courthouse.
Perfect.
I mean, it's wide open,
Right.
and that's dangerous.
Yes, that is dangerous.
That's the approach we're taking.
That guy was also dangerous and lazy. That was really what it got down to.
And he didn't even park in a parking place.
Fantastic. Even better. You know, and then you have situations too, like, you know, where external security is obviously, because you had the guy in Mason that would burn down the courthouse there. I mean, it just there's some interesting things that people have to deal with here. I wanted to ask you real quick here, though. You know, being in Precinct 2, I asked the judge last week, I said, it feels like Precinct 2 is ground zero for mega development in Kerr County. Now, Bruce Strachey was here with him, disagrees with me slightly on that. But the number of projects that are coming in to Centerpoint in particular, what is your take on what's happening there?
Well, look at Kerr County topography. Where do you find flat land?
Yeah, not here, there.
In Precinct 2.
Yeah.
And also, Bill Williams, 22 years ago, started a project to get rid of all the failing septic systems in Centerpoint and the area. And so we now have the wastewater program where they're hooking the old septic systems onto a central wastewater system, which gravity flows the waste down to the comfort disposal. So you're opening up that whole area to increase development.
Yeah.
It's out of the city, so the taxes aren't so high. You now have a central wastewater treatment facility. There's plenty of land, and it's flat. And I think people are also starting to realize the airport is a big deal. Mm-hmm. I mean, you look at what's going on out by the airport. You have James Avery's beautiful factory out there. You have the folks from North Dakota that have put their factory right out there, too.
Killdeer was going in there, right?
Thanks for remembering
Fox
that.
Tanks is there. I mean, you've got significant, and then, of course, the beloved gravel pits are there as well.
Oh, yeah.
But, you know, Judge Kelly was pretty honest with me. He said he hoped that it wouldn't necessarily be ground zero for this, that Centerpoint in itself would have some really potentially hard decisions to make about its future. I mean, do you see that as an incorporated city at some point?
Well, that's interesting. Centerpoint was actually incorporated, I think it was in 1918.
Okay.
And they never completed the paperwork, but it was incorporated.
Okay.
And then at about 1999, people got together out in Centerpoint and decided we need to be a city so we can do some things.
Yeah.
So they discovered that they had been incorporated, and they did the paperwork to reincorporate. They were a city for about 6 months, maybe a year, and the citizens all of a sudden discovered that the city council in Centerpoint wanted to levy taxes.
Yeah.
So they voted to unincorporate.
Right.
So it'll take a interesting set of circumstances to convince those people.
Well, it was interesting. I was down there for the triathlon, and there's the signs are still up, about Centerpoint Village, which is the big development that's going to go in there. Judge Kelly was pretty adamant that development has not met the criteria yet to be approved because of the subdivision rules and some of the things they're trying to work on. I mean, there are some limited tools that the county has, but really, if a developer comes in and meets all the checks, you can't do anything about it.
That's right. If they come in and check all the boxes, you have to approve their plan, or if it sits for 30 days, then it's automatically approved.
Right. That's the shot clock bill. On that point, yesterday I was speaking. I had a speaking engagement yesterday, and I was talking about how fascinating I think Texas is from the standpoint of property rights. Like I'm going to build what I want, but don't build that there. So you have this Nimbyism that's prevalent, and what does that look like in the future?
It's just what you said. It's NIMBY, and you can't stop somebody from putting in a gravel pit.
Right.
What'll stop the people from building gravel pits is the price of the land.
Right.
That's the only thing that's going to stop them. Becomes uneconomical.
Yeah.
But you can't stop somebody from putting in, subdivision if they meet to check all the boxes.
Right.
So it's going to change the whole context, the whole flavor of Precinct 2 and that part of Kerr County over the next 10 to 15 years.
Yeah, exactly. I'm fascinated by that conversation. All right, let's go. Just jump back real quick. All right, we're actually overtime here now. Brittany's thrown down the glasses. She says, "All right, let's give us." So what we've come to a conclusion here. The conclusion of this story that ties it all together between what Fred is saying and Nancy and Brittany is that we have needs in this community that are pretty significant. We are growing. We have needs. What is the Special Opportunity Centers? What is the pitch? What do we need? Nancy or Brittany? Nancy, Brittany? What do you want to go? Who wants to go first? Okay, Brittany, go.
Well, we're going to need space eventually. We're going to need bigger space. We're going to need potentially some land to put it on.
Right.
So if anybody feels like they have some land sitting around that they want to get a really good tax write-off, we would totally be a recipient of said land. We need some more awareness. So we've got a website now, kerrsoc.org.
Okay.
We're on Facebook, Special Opportunity Center. We're on Instagram. We also need, things just as little as more community involvement with us, more interaction. They need exercise more. We'd love to maybe get in touch with some yoga or any sort of classes that they could maybe either go to their studio or the studio teachers, instructors could come there. We're setting up Special Olympics here shortly.
Oh, nice. Very good.
That's something that we have not had for quite a while now.
Hey, by the way, here's the website for you guys to look at. There it is. And this is where you can get it. So you can go to you can send an email to them at kerrsocboard@gmail.com. There's also information how to get a hold of them as well. And from like a volunteer standpoint, do you need volunteers? Do you need staff? What do you guys? What are the needs?
As a whole, Hill Country needs staff.
Okay.
So if your heart is in the IDD side, then great. If your heart is in the mental health side, staffing is a huge thing right now, and that's a problem everywhere.
Right.
But also what we call host home. That's not a go in and punch the time clock kind of job. That's, inviting one of our individuals into your home to live with you as part of your family. We need host home providers.
Right. And so if I'm going to come by and take pictures and do a thing, I can do that? I can come by and do a big story on you guys?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right. We'll do that. We'll do that. When are you available, Nancy? We're going to set this up right now. We're just going to we're the full transparency on this show.
Well, that would have to be
You let me know.
some paperwork involved in that.
All right, let me know.
Because we have to get consents.
Okay.
A little bit of HIPAA involved.
Yes, there's
That's
a lot
true.
of HIPAA involved.
Right. Yeah.
And so, but yeah, absolutely, we can.
I think it's important for us to there's going to be some stories out of there that we're going to want to tell. You know,
absolutely.
I want to jump in here and applaud these ladies for the work they do. I mean, I know a lot of people in Kerr County who have the situation they're describing. You know, I had a good friend in college whose younger brother had Down syndrome, and she was looking at the likelihood of taking him into her home at some point in the future when her parents no longer could. And then I know a lot of folks in Kerr County who have developmental challenges, people of their own. So the work they do is just below the radar, but critical to the success of a community like ours. And my sister ran a special opportunity center up in Enid, Oklahoma.
Okay, all right.
For a number of years, and was, trying to raise money and build their facility and come up with programs. And they happen to be very successful in finding employment opportunities for the members of their community who were capable, including one of my cousins who they initially placed at Chick-fil-A, working part-time as a busboy. Now he works there full-time. Just loves it.
Loves it, yeah, right. And that's just some of them. They just need to have those opportunities, and they need to have that sort of guidance to how to do these things, and that's what you're providing as well. So
Right, and also with the it's been mentioned several times of like your boys having to in the future maybe take care of their sister, and that's the great thing about our group homes. Because we are 100% involved with our families,
right.
So when parents pass away, if they choose to go into group homes or even live on their own, they are still part of their brothers and sisters' lives. But it's not now that they have to take full care of their sibling.
Right.
Yeah, so her employees will go into the homes and still provide full care for them while they're there.
Right.
So it's much more manageable and much more. Yeah,
and you're. I mean, in our group homes, we have 24-hour staff.
Right.
There's a staff with the individuals at all times, but it's a big thing to have to take your sibling in.
I think that's that a lot of families get faced with that too, and a lot of families decided, like I don't want to have. I want my brother to live with me or my sister to live with me, or I'm going to take care of my child. There's that marvelous video of a man who has Downs, and he had not been away from his dad for like more than 3 days in his life or a day in his life. And he went to a baseball game. The dad didn't go, but the dad was waiting from the airport, and it's the sweetest scene ever.
I saw that.
You've seen that,
the airport one?
Yeah, it's in the airport, and they just, the reunion is, and the dad is probably in his 80s, I would say,
Well, and that's the other thing, too, is like we talk about how we need to provide these services for them, but the reality is that they give us so much.
Yeah.
I mean, my boys are going to be completely different and live completely different lives and be better individuals because of my daughter.
Right.
And so what we don't put a value on so much is how much they impact us and how much they make us better.
Right.
Knowing somebody with special needs makes you a better person.
It makes you. It makes you immediately an advocate.
You're just a better person for knowing them.
Right. And your boys know that's our sister, or it doesn't matter, what condition she has. So that's amazing. I don't know how you did it though with having heart surgery at that age.
Lots of prayer.
Yeah.
Lots of prayer.
My daughter had a couple surgeries, and I tell you what, I was a wreck all the time. Before she was 7. So. Anyway, thank you guys for being here. It's so good to have you. We'll work on a story, and we'll have more on this in the newsletter tomorrow. And then finally, 2 questions for Fred before we leave here. One, the best part about being a lawyer is
helping people.
Helping people. What kind of law did you practice?
Well, in Dallas, I did commercial real estate lending. I represented Republic Bank and a number of life insurance companies on projects.